Okay. Notice that there is nothing that you need to do, in fact. To be in this moment of peace. That no matter what happens in the world, in the body, nothing is happening to you. And if nothing is happening to you, nothing is happening to anyone. Sometimes we have the impression that all sorts of things are happening. But when we look right here, in this moment, we realize that it is only thought that says this or that is happening. It's thought that says this or that is happening to you. A storyline, a novel, a movie, a narrative. But when we look closer and deeper at our experience, it's just the piece of being. The wild open sky, with a storyline, a storyline which is made out of shapes and sounds, like the sound of this voice, which deeper at our experience, it's just the piece of being, the wide open sky, with a storyline which is made out of shapes and sounds, like the sound of this voice. Which don't matter much when we don't give them much importance. We listen to the rainfall splattering on the roof and on the window pane. It's quite mysterious, fascinating in a way. But in a deeper sense of things, it really doesn't matter, does it? When it's scheduled to rain, it rains. And when it's time for sunshine or wind or snow, then that's what unfolds. Without anyone doing anything to anybody, thoughts appear to you. They appear within the spaciousness of awareness. Like hearing these words right now. There is no storyline in hearing. There is no past, no future. And there is no need for a past and future in this moment of being, this moment of comprehension, the effortless understanding. We don't need to spend this precious time of love and beauty trying to figure out the past and the future, do we? Encumbering the present, encumbering ourselves with thoughts and ideas and concerns. When it's time to wash the dishes, we wash the dishes. When it's time to cook dinner, we cook dinner. It is possible to be the flow. It's easy. Look how the leaves on the maple tree, they move with the wind, they sway. When a strong gust arises, some leaves fall to the ground. Gracefully, there is grace in everything. We don't need to define ourselves as somebody's son or daughter. We can let go of that, this sort of definition, this sort of limitation. And live as the formless presence the intimacy of being. Open, free, flowing. Everything that appears disappears. Out of a seed grows a tree, and then leaves and various buds and flowers. And in time, even those shapes, those forms change. The cycle is not broken. Same thing with the body. The mind, thoughts appear, disappear. But you are this wholeness, the totality. The infinite, invisible, the transparency of being, the reality of awareness. Are you not? So can we live out of that understanding? Which is available to us. This moment is a fresh new moment, completely free from past and future. And yet, so complete, so total, lacking nothing. Can we acknowledge this wholeness, this indivisibility, and align our perceptions, our actions with that understanding? Rather than perceiving from the narrow model of gain and loss, birth and death, can we perceive with the eyes of eternity? Before a thought arises, you are. Before a sensation arises, you are. And throughout the thought, you are. Throughout the sensation, you are. And after the thought, after the sensation, you still are. So rather than defining yourself via that which appears to you, simply recognize the I am, the formless, non-phenomenal amness, beingness. In the ocean, currents flow within the ocean and waves dance throughout the ocean. Of what concern is it for the ocean? Of what concern? So listen deeply within yourself. There's nothing you need to hold on to, because you are the reality of being. simply remain undefined. Okay. So if you have any questions, hello, Holger.
Hello, Magdi. My phone just rang with some potential spam. I didn't turn it off.
No.
As soon as I say hello, Magdi, hello, Holger, it seems I'm back and defining again.
So now, in this moment,
Perfect.
so I perceive this and that. I perceive the oak tree. I hear the song of the birds. How does that define me?
It doesn't.
So one could say that consciousness, awareness, I, is undefined by this perception. In fact, I'm undefined by the speaking, the hearing, I'm undefined by that which I perceive, yes? One could also say that everything defines me. I define everything, and everything defines me, but without excluding anything. Without excluding anything. So I am that which I know, and I am that which knows. So I am that which I know does not refer to a single mind. Because that which I know does not belong to the mind, it belongs to I, that which knows. And that which knows, which is I, is not inside a body or or is not local or locatable or. So the I that knows is the knower of all that which is known. And one could say that everything that is known defines I, and I define everything that is known, but everything, not excluding anything. So that your dreams, in your night dreams, everything that is in your dream is you. Yeah. You could say that everything is in your dream, everything. Not a particular mind, not a particular event, not a particular character. The whole, whichever way you define the content of the dream, is you. Because it's not separate from you. And yet you are not, you define the dream, you create the dream, you are the dream, and yet you are not the dream. So you are the dream because the dream is not apart from you. You are not the dream because you are also the knowingness of the dream. You are the knowingness of the entire dream, not just this particular mind. So we say the form and the formless are the same, are not two. But it's not to be misunderstood that there is a material reality and there is a consciousness reality, and that the material reality and the consciousness reality are two. No. There is one reality, which is that which doesn't come and go, which is cannot be the dream, cannot be the changing aspect of the dream, the movement aspect of the dream. So we could say that there is like a sub-reality, which is the reality of the mind, the reality of the body. And that sub-reality of the body and of the mind belongs to the one reality, the reality of consciousness. So in a similar way that you could say that the tree, there is the branches, reality of the branches, reality of the leaves, reality of the sap, etc. And yet the tree is a totality of all of that. As a metaphor, the tree is the reality of the branches, of the leaves, of the flowers, of the buds. So for that to be more less abstract, in your experience, you perceive whatever you perceive, and that which you perceive is made out of yourself, and its reality is yourself. And but the yourself is not a limited form, because any limited form must be perceived. Otherwise, we would not know that it's limited. By the very fact that something is limited, that means it is known, its beginning and its ending, or its dimensions are known, whether they're known perceptually or conceptually. So that which perceives is not known conceptually or perceptually. So therefore, it cannot be contained. It cannot be limited. Yes? It cannot be limited. It cannot be limited by space or by time. So therefore, it cannot be a particular mind, because all minds are limited. Holger's mind this moment is defined. One could define Holger's mind via the set of sensations and perceptions that are on board this moment. The Magdi's mind could be defined by the sets of perceptions, sensations, thoughts that are on board this moment. And these are both minds are limited.
I almost feel like intoxicated or something.
It's because the experience of awareness is a sort of absence. And there is an aspect to the intoxicated experience where we're sort of, what they say, out of it. We're here, but we're not here in a way, you know. So the important thing to understand experientially is that I am, and this I, which is nothing and everything. It's neither nothing without everything, nor everything without the nothing. It is nothing and everything. So as nothing and everything, it is both the absence and the presence, both the Shiva and the Shakti, the Shiva, the absence, and the Shakti, the presence. It's both the unmanifest and the manifest. Without any exclusion. And when I say without any exclusion, we're not making the assumption that the manifest realm is limited to any particular mind or any global minds. It's completely open. Manifestation is completely open as the infinite potential. So that your experience of the form as consciousness is experience of formlessness. So form is experienced formlessly. In that there isn't a separate experiencer to experience. Like in this moment, one could say that sound is a form, but yet our experience of the sound is formless. How could form be formless? Because form is just a movement of the formless. Like a current is a movement of the ocean, or a movement of water. So the movement of the formless can only be formless, because it is the formless that is moving. Now, how come it's not the movement of form rather than the movement of the formless? It is not the movement of the form because form is inert. Form by form, we are talking about measurement or observation. That which we observe has parameters. It's defined via certain parameters. And the parameters, there is a rigidity to them, there is a fixed aspect to them. Otherwise, 2 would be 3, and 3 would be 4, and 4 would be 2. 2 is not 3, and 3 is not 4, and 4 is not 5. So in the form, as a way of speaking about it, it's inert. Form does not dance. That which is inert does not dance. It requires a certain force to move it. The force that moves it doesn't come from it. It comes from the formless. If form does not move a form, it does not move. Similarly, we say that it is consciousness that is knowing. It knows itself by the very fact that it is made out of knowingness. And it knows its creation by the very fact that it creates, and therefore knows its creation, because it is the creator of the creation. It knows the form by the very fact that it is the creation, the creator of form. So the body-mind, the world, they do not perceive. A tree does not know a river, or does not know a sensation. A sensation does not know a thought. So there is an order of knowingness within the realm of existence. And it's that realm of knowingness that enlivens and energizes existence. So the movement we perceive, the movement of the wind, the movement of the river, the movement of thought, the movement of sensations, is God's breath within the realm of existence. God refers to the eternity of being. to that which is unborn, uncreated, uncaused, unmanifest. And in our experience, that which is unborn, uncreated, unmanifest is I.
Thank you.
So we live the dance, the flow, the manifestation of existence with the light of being. Illuminating our activities, our thoughts, our perceptions, our feelings. So we invite the formless to dance within our entire being, within our body, our mind. And within the world that we perceive. So that we can bring this understanding to the forefront. Somehow it is dormant. Okay, Holger.
Thank you.
Yes. Any questions?
Hi, Magdi.
Hello, Charlie.
So is the experience of consciousness being universal and unlimited just the simple experience of peace and happiness
Yes,
and then love and beauty?
absolutely. Except I would not use the word simple.
But the non-complicated.
Yes. It's so lovely, you know, the peace, the freedom, the joy, the causeless happiness, the sharing, the caring, the sweetness of being. Yes, yes. These attributes of consciousness, let's say, are like the light and the heat, the warmth is the attribute of the sun. It's inherent within reality, within the reality of consciousness. There's one reality, which is the formless aware presence that perceives this perception right now, creates and conceives and perceives this perception moment by moment. Inherent within this reality is the peace of being, the freedom, the love, the intimacy, the wholeness, the causeless fulfillment, infinite potentially, abundance of goodness and love. Yes. And the storyline about me, what happened to me, what happened to my family, why did I do this or that? How will I heal the past? This storyline has nothing to do with reality, with your reality. It's a storyline that somehow we somehow wiggled our way into it. Being a son, being a brother, whatever. Being the body, being something, being referred to as something. Obviously, there is only one reference and one reality, which is consciousness. It always refers to itself. It perceives everything as itself and knows itself. But from the perspective of the disturbance within the human mind, we exist in that realm of mistaken identification, realm of separation. Yes, so peace, happiness, freedom, the joy of being love, it's not something that the human mind attains. The human mind can recognize. Its powerlessness, which is a wonderful thing, and recognize the glory and the abundance and the tremendous gift bestowed upon it. Which is the gift of causeless peace and happiness. Who could ask for anything more than that? You don't even have to earn it. It's right there. Simply be watchful not to refer to yourself in any way. I mean, psychologically, of course, if somebody tells you what's your name or, where do you live? Yeah, you say, okay, I'm Charlie, I live. And at the surface, of course, we're not going to become stupid, but not to refer to yourself within yourself as Charlie, as the person, as a limited self, as what you imagine yourself to be, as what you remember yourself to be, as what. Don't refer to yourself as anything. Because in whichever way you refer to yourself, you're referring to yourself with the past. And there is no past in reality. The past is just a current thought or a current way in which consciousness appears. My mother, when I was 5 years old. It's an image.
It feels so familiar, that the story.
Yes. You know, when you are wearing, you may have 10 pairs of shoes, but maybe are one or two that you wear more frequently. You don't, you slip, your foot slips in them. But in spite of the familiarity, that feeling of me, you know, me, this person, whatever it is still an appearance, appears to you. Like we are all familiar with the sunrise or the daylight, and then the night or the dawn, and etc. We're very, very familiar with that. But still, it is an appearance. The sky, the sun, the sunrise, the sunset. We are familiar with the sense of me. But if you look at the sense of me right now, can you describe it? Describe it. How would you describe it? See, it's hard to pin it down, you know. It's like, yeah, I mean, I sort of sense I'm me, you know. But when you take a look at it, it's I remember this friend of mine, that sometimes I would have a craving for a certain food that I grew up when I was a young boy, you know, my mom used to make. And this friend of, I would have this urge, oh, I have to eat this. And this friend of mine told me a couple of times, you are eating your memories. You're eating your memories. And it was interesting because in a way, yes, I wanted to eat my memories. It's a sense of familiarity is somewhere, you know, that I sort of wanted to bring that sense up and sort of eat it, you know. The sense of me in a way is like that. It's hard to pin it down, but we want to bring it up to eat it, to live it, to sort of give it more of a form, you see, more of a form, to make it more tangible. But what is it? I mean, so eat the food. It's a sensation that dissolves in the space. The sense of me is like we are familiarity. We're familiar. It's like when you drive home. You know, you drive home. There's a certain road you take. You're sort of familiar with the way. You know, you're not thinking about it, but there is a familiarity. It would be really shocking if you drove and then you come home and there is no home. It's a It's a lake. We're familiar with the road and we're familiar with the image of the home, and we get there and we park and we look in. Familiarity. So there is a realm of sort of being familiar with an experience. So the sense of me is like a certain familiarity with, you're so cute, you know. You know, when you're a young boy, you know, oh, you're cute, oh, you got, you know, you develop a certain sense of, I mean, there's a lot of awful things happening. I'm fighting with the little kid, the other kids, you know, and but I'm also cool mom and dad, and the teacher loves me, and this friend loves me, and that friend loves me. You know? Me is what? The sense of me. So and in a way, one could say that the sense of me is, it's an okay thing, you know. But it spreads. It wants to be experienced more and more. Why did you do this to me? How dare you do this to me? Why did my boss give the promotion to her and not to me? It's a sense of me that's sort of innocent. It has teeth. It grows teeth. And it sort of rigidifies, you know, me, my future, my past. It sort of forms a skeleton. Yeah. And then it flares up, you know, flares up into feelings and emotions, you know, feelings and emotions. It's that same sense of me, you know, that same sense of, you know, that Charlie, I love you, Charlie, you're my son, I love you, you're so sweet, you know. It's that same sense of me that but simultaneously, the sense of me that before it arose, there was consciousness manifesting as a baby's mind. A baby's mind is various perceptions. You know, mama's embrace. So there's consciousness. There isn't a sense of me yet. There isn't yet the world and me, but there is an experience, that consciousness manifesting as that, appearing as that. So the sense of me arises at some point, you know, it progresses within consciousness, within awareness, you see. But all along, there is awareness. All along. It's not that consciousness steps out of the way and now the sense of me is appearing to itself as a reality. No. The sense of me appears within consciousness as a subtle, yeah, I'm here. Yes, I'm here. I'm familiar. I'm familiar with the world. I'm familiar with this familiarity with whatever. See, it arises within awareness. It's subtle. It's a subtle appearance, you know, like a certain light paint on the wall, you know, right? A certain shade of white, you know, there are like many shades of white. You can barely see that shade, but there is a shade there. You see? But all along, this consciousness. And in consciousness, nothing is happening there. There's nothing at stake there, nothing that's being violated or that's being diminished. It's consciousness. And consciousness, in a way, all along, it is there, but because of the sense of me, we're referring to I as me. I as, this cute Charlie, and on and on and on, that. So then there's this, the other side, this is I, the person. And then when it turns into a taste, you see, oh, there isn't a person on the other side of it. So you say, oh, on the other side of it, there is no person. What is it? I is still, I remains. I remains. Then you have...
the sense of me seems to disappear.
Yes.
But then by habit it reformulates itself and then disappears again. Is it an illusion to think that one day the sense of me will just fully disappear?
No, it's not an illusion.
But is it the wrong way to think about it, that in the future the me will go?
I see.
Because I think that's there's still this sense of longing that,
yes.
Like one day kind of thinking.
Yes. Well, because if you love to learn how to play chess, you every opportunity you have to read about chess, to play games against various people, to join competitions to learn more, etc., etc. Because you love to play chess, you're loving playing chess, and of course you are enjoying the maturing, the growth, the learning. You're enjoying the learning, but it's not a false pride. It is a joy. Wow, it's fun, and you're enjoying going to the readings you're doing about the masters. You're enjoying the friends that you are that like the same thing you like. So it's joyful. It is happy. It's not like, oh my God, one day I'm going to become a world champion. When is this going to happen? No, it's not like that. It's not. It's a joyful. So the journey, the contemplation, how we meet and how you live is a joy. It's not like, oh my God, when am I going to be enlightened? Because if you ask the sages, when am I going to be enlightened? They tell you they don't know. I don't know what you're talking about, because consciousness is never non-enlightened. And what are you besides consciousness? You are not anything that appears to you. So from the mind's perspective, at some time there is, oh my God, when am I going to? But as you start to enjoy more and more the conversation, the play, exploration, the musing. What sometimes you're walking and some moves and chess appear to you. You may be walking in the street and you're seeing some things and you're enjoying that. Same thing, you know, the understanding appears to you. It appears to you, whichever way, and you could be in your dreams, in your sleep. But it's operating. It's because of your interest. And there comes a point where you sort of you're seeking, sort of becomes more and more transparent. You're no longer like seeking, you know, like riding that pony. No, you're more like sort of, it's more like you're playing, enjoying, pondering about some things. What does it mean? You know, I am nothing and everything. Wonder, you know, what it means. Say, looking at that, you know, how could I be everything? How could I be? Am I the lamp? No, the lamp. I'm not the lamp. But it sort of starts to, what they say, you take one step towards God, and God takes 10 steps towards you. It's, you know, this sort of. But no, it's okay. You know, the thought that you expressed about that maybe one day or after a few years I will get it. It's okay, but it's just a thought appearing to you. The thought that appears to you that says, if I work harder, I'll get it in 2 years, for example. Okay. Within that thought appears to you, right? And in that thought, that it says, I. Okay? So it's very specific, saying, I, in parentheses, Charlie. If Charlie works harder at it, Charlie, will get it in 2 years, right? But the thought doesn't know Charlie. You know, like your mother knows you. Okay, she brought you up, you know, she spent so many years with you. But the thought, it's not like your mother doesn't know you. It's trying to convince you that it knows you. It's telling you, hey, if you work harder, you will get it in 2 years. I know. Listen to me. No. Don't take a look. Don't take a look. Don't just listen to me. Listen to me. Repeat after me. Listen to me. If I work harder, I will get it in 2 years. Listen to me. I know. I know. Listen to me because I know. But it's not true. The thought has zero knowledge of you. It's an appearance. So I wonder, like, wait a minute. I just experienced a thought. That's saying that it knows something about me and my mother, my grandmother, my everything, but it's not true. But another thought may appear to you, says, oh, did you turn off you are cooking, making soup, did you turn off the stove? That thought, oh, I think it's a good idea for me to listen to that thought. I will go check. So I walk to the kitchen. I turned off the stove. So all is well. So we have to discriminate. You have to discriminate between the thoughts that appear to you, because thoughts are going to appear to you, you know. But you can discriminate. Why? Because you have the understanding. You have the understanding that some thoughts that refer to you are referring to false you, or to it's just a freaking lie / joke. It's a weird joke. So I don't listen so much to that thought. I say, okay, fine. The thought arose, oh, darn, she shouldn't have said that. She shouldn't have said that. Oh, okay. The thought doesn't know anything. The thought doesn't know anything. Okay, we have to agree with that. Because if you think that thought knows something, then you become a student of thoughts. And good luck, because you're going to have 65 zillion thoughts to study. And they're like the queen bees laying eggs and eggs and eggs, you know. So the thoughts are liars. The thought that says, oh, she shouldn't have done this. Why did she do this to me? It's all BS. It is big time BS. You know? But the way the thought gets to you is not that so much that it hypnotizes you. Count to 10, 9, 8. It doesn't just do that. It also gets into your feeling. It makes you feel, darn, she really shouldn't have done that. And the feeling, you see. And at the feeling level, we become like, oh my God, you know, oh my God, you know, how could she have done this to me? I mean, I'm feeling it. So if I'm feeling it, that means it's reality, right? I mean, if I'm feeling it, it's reality. You know what? It's a zoo. The feelings are a zoo. You know, a zoo, you walk into the zoo, every cage there is a different animal, boom, boom, it's a zoo. The feelings are like a zoo. Because the feelings are nothing like but the thoughts sort of appearing within the body. But they don't just appear and leave after a few seconds like a thought does. They appear and they build a log cabin, you know. Well, they build a tent, you know, they set up a tent. So you're feeling it, you know. I mean, sometimes we're feeling something for a day or for 2 days. We're feeling upset for 2 days, you see, right? But it's all a storyline, because at conscious level of consciousness, there isn't upset. There could be action. For example, stand off my foot. For example, somebody standing off your foot is action, but then it dissolves. It's not like, you know, continue. You know, the me story, her story about me, her, him, you see. So you have the capacity to discriminate. And it's important for you to develop the discrimination within yourself, because it's all appearing within you. And so you are the only boss, the boss. You're the only boss, you know. So you're the one who chooses, okay, you stand on this side, you stand on that side.
Thank you.
Okay, Charlie. Any questions?
Hi, Magdi.
Hello,
Marga.
Marga. Yes, hello, Marga.
How are you?
Okay.
Good.
Yes.
It was very interesting the way you personified thoughts just a minute ago. How persuasive and seductive it is.
Yes.
And through coming to visit here, when you do the meditation and in answering questions, I often get to a very, like Holger mentioned, almost intoxicated state where thoughts are seem so far and silly. And or not even, that's not even a thought. There's no judgment of the thought. But I'm curious because I'm very still when this is happening. And in busy life, I often feel a similar way, but it seems easier for the thoughts to get a hold in motion and in like there's distractions that then make the patterns pop up without being observed in the moment of. And I've been noticing in the past year, there's a very early kind of critical, judgmental thought thing that's a pattern. Judges others and self. And I'm trying to catch it earlier, so that it doesn't, but it's so fundamental, it seems like sometimes.
Yes.
And it happens in motion, so that things are happening, judgments are being made almost faster than I can perceive.
Yes. Yes. Well, a couple of things, Marga. First, just conceptually, it makes sense. Or let me put it another way. Stillness cannot move. So there is a stillness that the only real stillness, not an experience. This is a reality. There is a reality of stillness. And that does not move. And this stillness is not something that you remember. It's real. It is the reality of I consciousness, your reality, my reality, the reality of being. It's not something that you remember or you experience. It is that which you are. And when the clouds part, we see the blue patch of sky. And then at the mind level, we sometimes say, wow, that's an interesting blue cloud. There's a parting of the white clouds or the gray clouds. There's the blue sky. The mind says, oh, that was a really beautiful blue cloud. But the wide open sky is not a blue cloud. Now, in terms of daily life and activity, there is no problem with Shakti, the dance of Shiva, the world, the weather, sensations, perceptions. What am I going to cook today? What time am I going to go meet my friends? And when am I going to do this and that? And there's no problem with this movement, this activity. Like the waves on the surface of the ocean, they don't disturb the ocean. But the disturbance, quote unquote disturbance, arises when the ocean, the wave believes it is the ocean. It believes I am it, I am that, I am something other than the totality. When I am something else than the totality, that is a particular activity of thoughts and belief and feelings, which is the sense of separation. And as long as the wave still is maintaining, I am it, I am such a beautiful wave, I am whatever, as long as it's maintaining that, all its movements have that belief in it, have that effect. So, but as soon as the wave recognizes that it's not independent of the ocean, then that particular movement, which is a movement referred to as ignorance or unhappiness, is thinning out. Now, in our life, too readily out of habit, we assume a function, a role, a continuation. We're continuing something. We're continuing our existence. It's so, but in consciousness, as the stillness, there is no continuation. There is eternity of stillness, the eternity of peace. It's not a continuation. So when we are continuing something, it's important to be clear that it is just at the body-mind level. Yes, at the body-mind level, we feed the body, we exercise the body, we clean the house, we rest, we go to work, etc. It's very important to be clear that there's a function, a body-mind function, that I am not defined as the body-mind character that is performing these functions. Like the programmer that programs the machine to perform various functions. When the programmer identifies itself with the machine or certain functions of the machine, the programmer is not the machine, not the machine. So the Marga as a functioning organism, because Marga is the name of that functioning organism. Marga as a functioning organism is not you. So the activities of the human body, because the human body is active, even at night, the activity of the dreaming, turning in the bed. And maybe in deep sleep there is a moment of very low activity, but overall, the human organism is active, and it's an interactive organism. Interacts socially, it interacts with the environment, it interacts with the world, it interacts internally with thoughts. Yes, so it's a normal, the healthy way in which we are at the body-mind level. The design is, you see, it works that way. The human body cannot stay still for too long. It needs to stretch, it needs to move, it needs to, you see. So that's not a disturbance. The disturbance is when I am me, when I am Marga, when you know, the worry and the concern, it doesn't belong to the organism. It belongs to the belief. The organism doesn't worry. If it's hungry, it's gonna hunt, or whatever it's gonna do. If it's tired, it's gonna rest under a tree, in bed, in the car. It's pretty simple at that level, and it's well equipped, you see, to operate in a certain way. So, but isn't the unhappiness or the sense of being off track is not at the functioning of the body. It is at the functioning of ignorance, of that I am. What am I? What am I truly? So be watchful not to make a distinction, not to find a problem out there that I'm active or not active. Even when you are in meditation, the body is very active. It's breathing, it's the heart is pumping, and you know, so there's the activity of the body. Now, it is true that when you are then in the waking state, that you're not sitting in meditation, you're not just being silent and still. But there is a time for this and a time for that. And the question then becomes, how can I, in my daily life, meditate, let's say, or be in meditation, as you know, as a way of speaking. So in daily life, there are some things that challenge you, some things that irritate you. Or maybe you irritate yourself. You tell yourself, oh, I should have done this yesterday, or I should do this fast, or why didn't I think of that, right? So this would be then your meditation. Or in life, there are things that arise for you. How are you with them? Am I judging? And what is it that I'm judging? Because when I'm judging, I'm imagining a personal power that is and always when you're always judging the past, because there's nothing to judge in the present, because in presence there is no time, there is no this or that. in judging is an imaginary personal power that, anyways, I'm not going to go into that, but thing is, you can make your daily life a meditation, in particular the small irritations. I'm not talking about the big irritations. Big irritations, let them, they have the stronger arm. Okay, fine. But work with the smaller irritations. Notice resistance. Notice how you want things to be different. Notice how you want things from the past. Notice how you want things to be different tomorrow. Notice all your conditions. They're in unhappiness, even the small unhappiness. There is some sort of personal condition that we are placing onto ourselves, onto our children, onto our friends, onto the world, onto God knows, onto whatever, you see. And see if you can practice being, releasing, being, allowing, forgiving. I don't like the word forgiving too much, but because it's like it's sort of a dominance, allowing, accepting, being the flow, and allow yourself to feel, not so much in your head, okay, as well, but feel, allow your whole body to be a participant, participating in the allowing, in the surrendering, in the being. And you may notice your mind wants to pull you back. Oh, what will happen if what's going to happen if I don't take that stand? So you have to sort of be watchful of that, because there may be a tendency for your mind wanting to pull you into, no, go back to your judgment, go back to, no. So, but over a certain period of this practice in life, in your daily life, of being still, allowing, forgiving, loving, it's an internal process. You don't need to argue. I don't need to. I know she's done this to me, and I know that she was, improper, and I know that, but you know what? I don't need to do this right now. I don't need to revisit it. I don't need, because if you revisit it, you touch it, you get your hands dirty again and again. You don't need, it's okay. I'm okay with it. Give it to God. I'm going to give it to God. My function, my role, my way of being is just okay, fine. Let me see how God will respond. Let God respond, okay? Because she knows she'll respond. I'm open to her response. I'm beautiful with that. So to sort of explore that this way, the meditation, then also, you call it meditation, whatever, it doesn't matter what we call it. So in your life, then there is, and this is very the import of your life is much more than the meditation. Because meditation, okay, 1 hour, whatever, but your life, is so many things, and that's where we have so many opportunities, so many gifts, there are gifts from God, gifts. The irritations are a gift. So use them, don't be abused by them.
You're reminding me of something you said a couple of weeks ago that has been helpful, and then I forgot again, but it was there was a pun in it, because you said like God's knocking on your door with a present.
Yes.
And it's like a pun with the present moment is
Yes.
the gift is, and it's helpful in that it's like no matter what's happening around me, that's the thing.
Yes.
It helps with the resistance.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know, like somebody who goes to concerts and is interested in music, and they develop an ear. We start to notice some of the subtleties, some of the nuances of the music, you see. Similarly, you know, we start to recognize more and more God's touch, God's voice, God's whisper. And she is always whispering to us.
Thank you.
Okay, Marga. Lovely talking with you. Okay. Oh, okay, 3:42. Okay. Very lovely to be with you all. Thank you. Yeah. Karen and Rahul, Marga, Charlie, hey George, Esther, hello Esther, and Frank. Grace, hello Grace. Holly, hi Holly. Holger, Mina.
Magdi, thank you very much.
Yeah. Hola Gloriana. Hello Zoe.
Hola, Magdi.
Very lovely
Thank
to
you.
be with you all. Thank you all.
Thank you, Magdi.
Thank you.
Thank you, Magdi.
Thank you, Magdi. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Magdi.
Thank you.